What's up, everybody? How are we all doing? G'day around the world. Today's video in the Organic Portal video series that I do, as you can see. Alright, let's do this one today. Organic Portal video. I should probably call it something. Organic Portal Soulless Humans. Okay, this video today. Organic Portal Soulless Humans. What and who is a souled human? Notice, firstly, I spelt humans differently. Oops. No. Sorry, I've just got rain. I'm just trying to adjust the volume. But I'm half retarded. Alright, so Organic Portal Soulless Humans. And what and who is a souled human? Well, you know, I've got some notes here, but we're going to go on to things even like Stuart Hameroff's, what is he, the co-director of Consciousness Institute or something like that. He was also in that movie, What the Bleep Do We Know, Down the Rabbit Hole, 2006 documentary with the double slit experiment, Dr. Quantum cartoon about flatland, organic portals and more. It was that science documentary. So Stuart Hameroff, he was the one who was the anesthesiologist who was going on about people's near-death experiences, and so he pretty much turned from, you know, doctor more to more of a, you know, spiritual conscious study person. Started studying the human spirit, soul, or whatever you want to call it. And, you know, he says that the soul of a human is found in the microtubules. Now, I have two main things to say about that. First time I ever heard that, I laughed because I thought, you know, obviously he can't be real, he can't be serious that he thinks that the actual soul's entrapped in our microtubules, and microtubules are a layer below or smaller than, you might say, a magnitude smaller or lower than the neurons of the brain, which you're all familiar with. So it's just something smaller than the neuron, okay? So there's another level under neurons. Now we know neurons are what is it, like 10 to the power of 40, I think? So like, what's that, like 40 trillion? Or something like this, neurons? And they're saying, you know, 30 to 40 trillion neurons you have in your brain. And that's just the brain, I'm pretty sure they're talking about. Because actually your heart has neurons, and there's neurons in parts of your body. But he's saying that they're in the microtubules, and that's below the neuron level. And he's saying that the soul can be found there, or the title of the articles that I've seen are always just Stuart Hameroff says the soul is in the microtubules. The human soul is in the microtubules. And, you know, the first time I heard that, I laughed very hard, because I have a very hard, one of those loud shaman laughs. You know how you've seen a shaman laugh? They just don't give two Fs? That's like me. That's how I laugh often. So, I laughed very hard, and I thought, ha ha ha, either this person doesn't understand, you know, that material reality, so to speak, or physicality is, let's say, one side or half of the coin, or he's just saying it to conform to society, which I think is the case, because he's a pretty smart man. I don't think he's stupid enough to think, you know, all is as it seems to be, or all is just physical stuff. I'm pretty sure he realizes there is, you know, the intangible, etc., higher dimensions, etc., you know, numinous light or whatever. I'm pretty sure he's not just a materialist. I hope not anyway, I don't know for sure. But I have a feeling he was just titling it that so that, you know, it could, it's kind of like how people title their YouTube videos, you know, clickbait. Kind of like that, so people would actually view the article and not just, you know, take it as too much of a joke. They'd go, oh, something about the soul and, you know, oh, we found something out, you know, physical, and more people would look at the article. So I think that's just what he did, and that's my two opinions on it. Either it's you know, a joke title, or it's a title to lure, a luring title. But anyway, obviously the human soul is not inside the microtubules, and that's where it is, and you know, that's where it's trapped, and so on. I mean, that's a silly notion. But what he's basically saying then is that you can see its imprints there. That's how I would have wrote the article title. I would have said the imprint of the human soul can be seen in the microtubules. That's how I would have written it. Something like that. But anyway, we're going to go into a video because I want to look deeper into that theory. I did read about it a few years ago, but I want to see if there's anything more, you know, discovered on it now, and, you know, if they've delved deeper into it. We'll see. So that'll be a future upcoming video about, you know, what and who is a soul, or a souled human, because I have a feeling that would be part of the picture, at least, the microtubules, you know. If he's putting such importance on it, it may well be a big part of the picture. Like how we say, you know, the top chakras are not active in an organic portal, only souled humans, stuff like that. And the upper Merkaba triangle is, you know, only active in souled humans or spirited humans, not organic portals. In case you don't know, an organic portal is a spiritless, soulless human. I have a video called Organic Portal Definition, defining what is an organic portal, in this very playlist you're listening to, called Organic Portal Legacy List, on my YouTube channel, Benjamin Cowenberg, from consciousazine.net. So, what and who is a souled human? I have a few notes here. Let's just go through these notes. So, something about that person. You know how you see people and you just go, oh, there's something about them. Like, yeah, you can do that for evil people, and they might be a negative souled human. But you know what I mean, right? That general shine, that sort of auric, you know, like the aura sort of feeling. That person's got a great aura. You know, that's a souled human. Or they look like they're thinking. They actually look like they're thinking, you know, having self-thought. Just that general sort of shine about the person. For some people, I'm just trying to think of how to explain it to someone who doesn't see it, that's all, because, I mean, I see it. I know a lot of people I've, well, I don't really have friends at the moment. Well, I was going to say, you know, all my friends in the past who I considered actual, like, close friends or something, who could see it, like hippie people, they'll be like me, and we can just sort of see it. But I'm trying to think how to explain this to a person who can't see it. Well, perhaps you're an organic portal if you can't see aura, and if you just think that's some fuzzy term from these crazy hippie spiritual people who don't know what's going on around them. If you're like one of those people, you're probably an organic portal. You may be a negative souled human because you're quite negative, but it's very likely you're a organic portal, because I know even negative souled humans, even though they're negative Nancys and they're bastards and stuff, they're still able to, you know, get what I'm talking about, that general sort of vibe that someone has spirit, has that shine, that light coming from within, etc., you know. So that, you know, anyway, so another analogy, or an analogy I should say, that wasn't an analogy, that was like a, you know, a real sight thing, something you really can see, something that I consider tangible even though it's intangible, because you can tangibly see it with, well, your third eye, so it still makes it tangible even though it's an intangible phenomena, if you understand what I'm saying. Just like mathematics. So anyway, main actors in movies. That's a good analogy for who and what is a souled human. Well, you know when you're watching a movie and you've got the backdrop people, they get paid $5 to walk through the scene in the background. Maybe they come up and they have a quick conversation with the main actor or something. But they're not the main actors. So the main actors in the movies, blockbuster movies when you go to the cinema, those main actors, they're like those protagonists are portraying souled humans, okay? So I just wanted to give that one across because, hey, maybe you look at movies a different way now, maybe you realise what I'm saying. So here's a more technical term. What is a souled human? A concrescence. Now people continuously reference the organic portal theme in reference to that organic portals are pre-Adamic man. They all say, oh, pre-Adamic man. Many articles on the internet say that. I've mentioned it a few times. So the idea is that I'm going to further that idea for you. So the idea is that they were a type of human type 1.0. And maybe you might consider the souled human a human 2.0 or something like that. Then there's going to be the human that's going to, be part of half machine, half human world, and we already have them, people coming about now, people using all kinds of technologies, integrating them into their body and everything. But look, that's fuzzy, that's very, I don't know, that's not such a great way to see it. Here's how I'll say it, from my sort of point of view and personally. I would say that, yeah, okay, so they're pre-Adamic man, the organic portal, but, and then they say Adam was the first one with a soul. Well, I say that Adam was the first indigo. He was the first in the idgo, realizing his higher self kind of thing. This was just an evolutionary concrescent point. And what I would say is that the organic portals, if you want to think of them as pre-Adamic man, okay, but I think it's better to think of them just as the stabilization function of any given species morphogenic field. Okay, so that's my personal little phrase or sentence. That's how I see it. I feel that technically covers it better than saying things like, oh, they're pre-Adamic man and, a souled human is a post-Adamic man. That sounds pretty stupid, guys. Like, that's pretty shit-brained thinking. That's not technical, so you're not at the core of the thing. If you can't explain it well, you don't understand it well. Yeah? So, I'm going to repeat it. In my opinion, organic portals are not just like pre-Adamic man, a souled human is a post-Adamic man. I think that's a very simplified view, and I actually think that's kind of erroneous in a way. And I think a better way to say it is that organic portals are the stabilization functionality of a species morphogenic field, and therefore we realize the organic portal theme in every animal species that has been and will come, because it's like I say, a souled human is a vector. A positive souled human is a vector. A negative souled human is part of the entropic field, just like an inured souled human is. And organic portals are basically atrophy, in my opinion. You could consider them entropy as well a bit, but yeah. So the souled human, complexity or not, is where the universe is kind of pushing most of its thrust through. And they're more novel, weird, truly creative, and they're always on go. They always want to go to the next level. consciousazine.com Chronicles. Okay, part 2 on who and what is a souled human. Well, it appears that we have the ability to go into any game and change it. Like, we can go into any game, completely change it, parameters, style, the face of it, whatever. But I don't think the organic portals have that ability, because it's like they are the game, you see? And they don't have that introspectability. Now, Stephen Hawking, that famous physicist, he calls intelligence adaptability. Look at his silly quote. Stupid. It's called adaptability, Stephen. That's not intelligence, that's adaptability. Yeah, adaptability is adaptability. Who knew? So, anyway, I have a quote where I said, intelligence is the ability to look into things. And I made that quote after seeing his stupid quote. So I went, oh, something's got to be done here. Hey. And, yeah, so I made that quote, intelligence is the ability to see into things. Intel agency, so you get the intel from an object. It's like seeing the code behind the object. When you do object-oriented programming, like I can do, you realize that there's an object on the screen and code behind the scenes. Everyone's talking about scripts and codes of OPs. Well, if you think about it like this, it's like we have some sort of write access. We can write access. We can not just read only. And it's like they're read only on the surface of reality, on the second dimension, the flatland. And all the third dimension where you start to get some sort of seed of consciousness from your ego. That's where consciousness stems from, not comes from, you know, whence it came, but that's where it stemmed from along the linear timeline. Because that's first sovereignty, realizing your ego, your third dimensional zonal reality nature, you know, that you are you having your life, and how you know whose spoon, you know, whose mouth to put the spoon in at night, and so on. This is like the seed point of consciousness, and that's where we've made it up to in, you know, the game of reality, so to speak, and in the third dimension. And so when you're a third dimensional organic portal, you'll have like a little bit of consciousness, but it's very ego based. That's all. There is no higher consciousness at all. Never ever. That's what we're saying with organic portal theory. So anyway, a soul is then this indigo, you know, in the id go, in the higher self go, in the id. The id is like the higher ego, or I think, I haven't read Freud a lot, but maybe that's what he called the superego. But anyway, so the souled human seems to have all that creative ability. Obviously, everyone says that, but obviously, so it's like we have some different access ability to the intangible parts, and all that is this knowledge thing as power. If you have the knowledge that there is an 8th dimension where you can change the code coordination, then okay, great, you got the knowledge. Then, you know, if you don't, you don't. I mean, we're all created equally from the 5th dimensional field of light. The unified field creates, you know, first molds our bodies, our physical bodies, but, you know, we're not all equally endowed, are we? We're all endowed differently. And that's third dimensionality. Third dimensionality is aspectual nature. Everything is different and unique. That's in the third dimension you get that. So, yeah, I think the souled human, who and what is the souled human? You know, it's not just you talk about it on post-Adamic man, pre-Adamic man. That's not the right way to talk about it. That's way too simplistic. The answer can't be that. I know I've heard the idea that the answer should be simple so that everyone can use it, but I don't think that's like some overarching axiom case that you take to all of reality, actually. Anyway, so I think it's a little bit more complex than that, that's all, and it goes with how the universe is a complexity creating and conserving machine. Why would the answers keep being more simple? Come on. Anyway, so yeah, I think the souled human is the complexity knot. It's pretty easy to see who is, a souled human just by how they talk. If you can, obviously you're listening to me and you already know, but I mean just anyone in your life, just listen to how they talk. And if they are always talking about societal stuff, simple stuff, it can even get to the level of they can talk about science, which seems complex, but all they did was read about it. You know what I mean? So it's always that second dimensional consciousness, it's flatland consciousness. Or it'll be that third dimensional seed point of ego. That's the best consciousness an organic portal has and achieves, the ego. Okay? So that's why they're like cornerstones. They're active in the world. They're like the cornerstones of the pyramid. They're like all the bricks under the capstone. The capstone is the souled human. That's why I always mention this same example. It's said that the pyramids had a gold capstone, which enhances the output, the energetic output from the whole design of a pyramid being like an energetic production machine. Some beam to the stars sort of thing. Kind of like how your third eye beams out of your forehead and your chakras beam out. And you can energetically sense overactive chakras. For instance, I can sense my own overactive or underactive chakras, and other people's. So these are just energy projections. So you can notice organic portals look at your energies, and you can notice that they'll mimic them. And it's like if they don't understand it, they have no choice or something. And these are non-understanding beings, so they're constantly mimicking. And the souled human seems to be able to see what you're doing and not, mimic it, not take that into account, but keep flowing with their own flow of thought in the meantime. Okay, so you'll see multi-layered approaches from souled human, multi-dimensional approaches. Neo-novelty comes through souled humans, and so on. So that's my opinion of who and what is a souled human. Just a little bit more complex, but really not that hard to see. Okay, Benjamin Cowenberg, consciousazine.net. Enjoy. See you later. I'm going to eat.